Paranormal Pixies again. I'm Blade.
I'm Rhonda.
And today we are going to talk about
Reincarnation.
Bone Daddy has a new hat on. He's got his Maleficent hat. And of course we have Coco, who is super excited because I was eating pizza before Rhonda got here. And he hasn't had his pizza bones yet because his brothers and sisters are upstairs right now. So he's a little overexcited because he knows what's coming. So, little monkey that he is. Yep. Okay, so again, today we're going to talk about reincarnation.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite subjects.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So, why don't you start?
Well, reincarnation is the belief that you don't just have one life, that you come back time after time after time. And I know there are a lot of theories that, you can come back as an animal or a tree, whatever. I subscribe to the belief that you come back as a human being every time. Because I'm like, I think once you are human, to come back as something else would just kind of be pointless. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Unless I could come back as a dolphin, that'd be pretty cool.
There you go. So, you're right. It is a belief that your soul is eternal and will come back in another life form. Mm-hmm. It's reborn. Most of the people subscribe this as a Eastern philosophy with karma and dharma and, just the reincarnation.
Yeah.
There are different theories on that. I tend to think that there are other cultures that believed in it. Not so much that the soul may be reborn into another body, but that the soul is eternal. Mm-hmm. You look at the Egyptians.
Yeah.
They believed in the Ba and the Ka, mm-hmm. which were two parts of the soul.
Right.
And they believed that the soul went on journeys.
Mm-hmm. That's why they buried kings and that with all
the
their
mummies.
Stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Because they felt they were going to the next life.
Yeah, so they would need all of their belongings in the
next life. Right, including their servants sometimes.
Yeah.
But, even in Native American, there is the belief about the soul that you don't mention somebody's name mm-hmm. because you pull them back here.
Right.
You let the soul continue on. And there's a lot of cultures that have that belief of the mm-hmm. soul journey.
Yeah.
Even like the Celtic.
Yeah.
The Celtic.
Even like with mirrors.
Right.
Yeah.
Where they believed that a soul would get trapped if you had mirrors around.
Mm-hmm. That's why Victorians would cover all the mirrors.
Right, exactly. Well, that wasn't just Victorian. That was a little pre-Victorian. Yeah. So,
I just know the Victorians always covered the mirrors.
Right, exactly. So, there's the belief in the soul being eternal and traveling on to a next stage.
Right.
Is multicultural. Mm-hmm. The reincarnation one, where you come back, in the Eastern philosophy, the reason that they say the animals and stuff like that mm-hmm. is that if you were so horrendous in your choices mm-hmm. and you were horrendous on purpose,
okay,
that this was a form of
punishment.
Not necessarily punishment, but relearning.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's like, obviously, as a human, you didn't learn your lessons, so now we're going to send you to another form mm-hmm. to learn some new lessons.
That makes sense.
So it wasn't a punishment. It was, as the soul progresses, it's supposed to learn lessons to develop a higher being. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. And in the Eastern philosophy, once you have gotten to a point where you have learned all that being needs to progress to the next level, to nirvana,
yeah,
and you're no longer going to have lives because the lessons have been learned. And so you progress up to where you're literally part of the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, you're beyond the physical body. You have become part of the whole. Okay. I've had people talk to me about, well, if your reincarnations was so, then why are there so many people now versus people before? And my belief is, and it stems into this one, mm-hmm. what we were just talking about. Look at all the animals that are extinct now.
Yeah.
Look at all the deforestation.
That's true.
Because in Eastern philosophy, it isn't just animals. that have souls, but it's plants as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I believe
So-
animals have souls.
Right. So all those souls going through different stages, there might have been somebody now that had been, a mighty oak in a past life.
True.
And then had gone to be a dolphin.
Yeah. Fucking
So
bastard.
with all the animals that have been wiped off the face of the planet, as well as mass deforestation in many areas, and now we have this rise in population in humans, I believe those are a correlation.
Makes sense.
So, that to me explains why there's more people now than used to be as far as the soul
Right.
journey goes. Now, there is the major religion who does not believe in that kind of stuff.
Right.
That once, and I find this interesting. Okay, so once you've passed on, you are going to go to
Woo.
yeah, he's got some puppy breath. You're going to go to a heavenly area, is the belief.
Yeah.
Once your body has hit that grave. This is just kind of like a layover, apparently, to the ultimate goal.
Yeah, see, that was one thing I never got was that, and then, they say that they all are there until Judgment Day when they all rise up.
Well, that's the point. That's what I was just about to address,
Yeah.
is that there's the ascension.
Yeah.
Where they all get judged whether or not they are going to go up or down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So there's that confusion of, well, if you're in essentially purgatory, they're in the waiting room of,
That would suck.
well, they might have video games there and, Yahtzee, I don't know. You're just you're like sitting there with the Muzak and the magazines,
Like in Beetlejuice.
right? And
If
and
they
then
have
you
no
go,
superhero
but this
movies,
is the
I'm not
belief
going.
because apparently, what is it? There's Enoch, David,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say St. Peter is up there. But nobody else is up there yet because they're waiting for the Judgment Day.
Wow, they must be bored.
Okay, so, but that, based on the writings, that's what's going on. But so many people believe this other part, and they don't believe in reincarnation. Well, here's the kicker. Reincarnation was in the books.
Yes, it was.
Until Justinian, who didn't want people to have that hope.
Right.
That they could be born into a better position, and people who were in a better position could be born into a lesser one.
Right.
He did not want people to have that. So he said, no, we're not going to have this in the Bibles. So,
there's a lot that he took out.
Right, exactly. I mean, he was the ruler of the Byzantium kingdom. He was the original ruler, Justinian. It was that was the Eastern Orthodox Church that did that. So he was a huge, huge ruler during that time. And even in, I believe, I'm not sure, I'm like, I might be corrected on this, but I believe in the Gospels of Thomas that they also reference reincarnation. And the Egyptian Gnostic Christian sects.
Yeah, well, even in the Bible, who was it? John the Baptist was reincarnated as Jesus' brother or something like that. Or I know he was reincarnated either from somebody else or...
John the Baptist baptized Jesus.
Yeah, I know, but there's a story there somewhere that he was reincarnated either as John the Baptist from somebody else or...
okay. Yeah. Because, he's the one who baptized Jesus in the New Testament.
Right.
But, reincarnation is multicultural. Okay, so it isn't just an Eastern philosophy. I think what comes into it for the Eastern philosophy is the karmic value.
Yeah.
Where they talk about how you can be born in different parts.
Right.
So what's interesting in the Eastern philosophy, that if you are having so much problem with learning your lessons, that your soul may not be reborn, but will become what is known as a hungry ghost.
Oh, wow.
And the hungry ghosts make our ghosts look like Walt Disneyland. Okay, I'm telling you right now, when it comes to Eastern haunt, I don't want to meet them in a dark alley. I'd rather deal with a poltergeist and a demonic possession all at once.
Wow.
Than deal with an Eastern haunt.
Well, see, now that's making me think of that forest in was it Japan?
It's in Japan.
Where people go to commit suicide.
Well,
yeah, I wouldn't want to walk through there. Ooh.
That place has actually, even before the movie came out, a lot of people might have known about this forest. That it has been known, not only do people go in there to commit suicide, but people who have just gone in
and
disappeared. Is believed what happens is there are the hungry ghosts, and they are convincing people
to
commit suicide.
Wow.
Right. Like I said, when it comes to the Eastern haunt, I
I think I'll stay over here.
scare me.
Yeah.
They
okay,
do.
so you've got notes here.
Yes. Okay. So I have. I was looking some stuff up, and as far as reincarnation, like we kind of addressed it last week with kids seeing stuff. Okay. They did a study back. Stop. Did I write down the date? No, because I'm an idiot.
Slacker.
But it was within the last 20 years. Okay, maybe even 10. There was a professor of philosophy, and he was the former chair of the Department of, professor of psychiatry, and former chair of the Department of Psychiatry and Neurology, who, in his research, discovered over 3,000 examples of reincarnation.
Provable?
This is what his study showed. He did a comparison of birthmarks and birth defects to wounds that these children claimed they had gotten and they came up with names and places. And so what they did is they looked these people up and looked at how they died and looked at death records. And there was a correlation of 35% over 210 kids. Okay?
Wow.
Also, they found that out of 49 cases, 43 of them were confirmed. In other words,
awesome.
that the birthmarks and the wounds and the birth defects, which were very rare birth defects, all corresponded to somebody from a past life.
Wow.
So,
cool.
And then there was things like, how do you know past lives, birthmarks, looking at things like that, what we just talked about.
Yep. Paintings,
yes. Let me see. It's hard to read these because they were...
I confirmed one of my past lives. So.
Okay. Kids who were born with marks that look like bullet wounds, where the skin is puckered.
Yeah.
They've actually shown it looks like a scarred puckering thing that looks like a bullet wound, and they find out when the kid starts talking about these people, and giving like maybe a first name or something that's close to the first name, and they'll go and they'll look. They'll find out that where that weird puckered mark is where that person was shot.
Yep.
Okay. Their writings look almost exactly the same, like their handwriting. Is exactly the same.
Or they'll draw pictures like the one little boy that was obsessed with fighter planes.
Right.
And they figured out that he had been a fighter pilot.
Yep.
Before, and he knew the guy's first name and
everything.
They confirmed all of everything he said, and he was like 4. So I mean, there's no way this kid could have just made all this stuff up. And he drew planes that were going down.
Right.
And and after they found out who he was before, they took him to where the guy had gone down and died, and they had a memorial and he was okay because he had nightmares and
Well, get up here, Stinky. You're not getting pizza yet. He's all excited. He's going to the gate looking for the pizza.
Like, I want pizza.
He's like, they get the little pizza bones, the little crust pieces when I get done. Right? And you're so excited because you're so happy because you know what those are. That and popcorn. They know. They know. Those are two things they know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The ability that they can speak a foreign language, that they know words that they've not been taught.
Right.
Or even songs that they've never been taught, and suddenly they're singing them. What I find interesting, and I wrote this down, is in the Eastern philosophy, what they do when they get a new lama.
Dalai Lama. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily just the Dalai, but
Like
whoever's
the
whoever is in charge of that monastery, and even with the Dalai Lama, that's very much a big thing.
Yeah.
They'll go around and they will look for children that were born on the day or the day after the old leader died. And then they wait till they're probably about 5 years old. Then they go around to all these villages and they collect these kids. And then they bring them back to the monastery.
Yeah.
And what they do is they put out a number of different things.
Belongings.
Belongings and non-belongings.
Yep.
And they lay them out in front of these kids. And the kids who pick up the belongings are the ones that they start to slowly but surely looking at this. They weed it out until it's down to the kid who is only playing with the belongings and not the non-belongings. That's okay. I understand.
Trying not to.
Believe me, it's been allergy season.
Yeah.
But that's how they pick a new llama.
Yeah.
Is via this way. Because what they believe is this is now the reincarnated soul of the old one. And that's why they're playing with only the belongings of the old one.
Right.
So, because they recognize
that's like a big honor for that family.
It really, it is. It is. So, yeah. I mean, it just...
And that's gone on for
ever.
Thousands of years, yeah.
Thousands. Yeah, I mean, it's just... Yeah. But, so there's the memories of the wars, like you said, where kids, especially kids, more and more kids are being noticed that they're remembering this stuff.
Right.
But they'll...
Because, like ghosts, they haven't been told this
No,
doesn't exist.
it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Elephants are gray.
Yeah.
But your hair on your tail is just knotted. Why? I need to brush you again. But they'll have these images of the wars and stuff like this, and they'll talk about it. They'll be like, "Oh, Mom, I remember when I was the mom and you were my, child," and they'll talk about stuff like that. And it sounds kind of weird, but what these people discover is if you let them start to more and more describe the stuff, they will come up with names. They will come up with places. They will come up with events.
Yep.
They will draw pictures of it. So, essentially, they remember a past life. And they may remember you as somebody else.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, souls are reborn back in connection with others that they already knew. A lot of times. And look at the pretty dolphins.
Yeah.
But
We'll have to tell them that sometime.
But it's definitely, there is a connection a lot of times with people. This is where we get this term soulmate. Soulmates are not necessarily the love of your life.
Right.
The person that you're meant to be with forever. That has gone through movies and romance books, which she'll tell you I make fun of those. But the media has made it into something else. Soulmates are people that you've probably known in a past life that you're connected to. And I think this is a way for our souls to feel comfortable in the journeys, is that there's somebody there that we know.
Right.
We may not know we know them. We get a sense of them.
Yeah.
And I also believe that these souls don't necessarily travel together the whole time.
Right.
They may bump into each other and then split off. And it may be just a couple of weeks. It may be days. It may be months. It may be years.
Yeah.
There was, when I was working at this one job, there was this guy. It was a horrible job. I worked for this idiot who I will not name. Let's just say that she bought her way in. She bought the company. She had no business. She thought she was all that in archaeology, and she was a banker's daughter, and that's what it was. And she decided she liked this, and she wanted to be in it, and blah, 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 blah. She hated me because I wasn't intimidated by her. In fact, I kind of made fun of her. But there was this kid, I don't even remember his name, because this was like ages ago. This is like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like a long time ago. I'm older than I look.
Yeah.
But essentially, I was already on the job. He shows up, and we start talking, and everybody thought, like within an hour, that we had known each other forever. Mm-hmm. Because of the way we just interacted with each other.
Yeah.
We wound up rooming together. I mean, it was platonic. There was nothing going on. He had his bed, I had mine.
Oh, yeah.
But, it was like, boom. As soon as we met, we were like drawn to each other. Mm-hmm. We were talking, we were goofing. We had the time of our lives. Mm-hmm. He was one of the funniest people I'd ever met.
Yeah.
And it was like, from the moment we locked eyes on each other, it's like we knew each other.
Yeah.
And we worked for a couple of weeks together, and then I haven't seen him since. And, it was the same way with the guy that I worked with in landscaping.
Yeah.
We got along great. Everybody thought, again, that we had known each other forever. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. To me, that was our souls recognized each other.
Right.
We hung out. Our lives went in different directions. He was there during a very, very horrible time. Mm-hmm. At this job. I injured myself on the job.
Yeah.
And this person the owner was a royal bitch. And
yeah, we've all dealt with those people.
Yeah, she wound up not liking me because I was just sort of like, where's my incident report? What? And I'm like, where is my incident report? How hard is that to understand? Where is it?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And she got so frustrated, she started yelling at me. You're fired! Get off! Get off! Get off! Get off! And I just looked at her and went, are you firing me? And she's like, what? What? And I'm like, oh, obviously I spoke too fast. Are you firing me? It was like...
She should have known. We're both Aries, so we're total smartasses.
I mean, she should have known when I had to leave because I had a cavity. I had to leave early. Yeah. And she's like, why are you here? And I'm like, well, I have this cavity. What? I'm like, a cavity here, look. And I'm like, it's as big as a pencil lead. And she's like, get away from me. Get away from me. I'm like, no, you need to see it. Yep. Because you don't believe me. Uh-huh. So, yeah, she should have known better. Yeah. She didn't like me because I wasn't intimidated. Mm-hmm. I was like, you're nobody. So what? Right. So what? Your daddy had money. Big deal. Yeah. You're an idiot.
Whoop-de-doo. Yeah.
So did mine.
Yeah.
So
doesn't make you smart.
No, it sure doesn't. Well, look at my brother. I shouldn't say it. He's actually really smart.
He just makes poor
choices.
Yeah.
He's doing better.
Yeah.
He actually is doing better now.
That's
His
cool.
choices are much better now.
Yeah. So what other notes do you have?
Oh, that was pretty much it. It was just, like some of the different things that can confirm, that people look for. But anyway, so soulmates are not necessarily lovers. They are people that come into your life that there's an instant recognition.
Right. You feel like you can talk to them for 10, 15 minutes.
And
feel like
it's
you've
like
known them for
forever.
a long time.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Those are what we know as soulmates. Mm-hmm. So people who go running around going, I must find my soulmate. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. Now, if you accept that people aren't necessarily going to be your lovers and stuff like that, best friends, those can be soulmates.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, it just is what it is. He wants that pizza so bad.
Yes, he
does. He's a klutz.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a little klutzy man. Yes,
now, if you want to learn more about your own past lives, there's several different ways to do
yes.
that.
There are different ways you can do that. Mm-hmm. One of the things that you can do is recognize dream patterns. If you dream about a house a lot, that may have been a house that you grew up in or lived in a past life.
Mm-hmm.
I do not taste like pizza, Coco. I'm not like, I did not smear it all over me.
Sure you did.
Yes. But anyway, somebody's a happy monkey.
Yeah.
But that's one way. You can do hypnosis is another way. Past life regression through meditation.
Yeah.
You go through a meditation where you put yourself through a tunnel, and when you open up the door, you will see a past life.
Mm-hmm.
It'll present itself to you and talk to you. And then when you're done with the conversation, you go back through the tunnel, back up.
Yeah.
These are easy.
Yeah, and there are guided meditations for that on YouTube.
Yeah. Right, exactly. I was going to say you can do that, or you can get a tape recorder or something that records your voice and
do it
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Always, when you do a meditation on your own, make sure you do your breathing exercise first.
Yeah.
Do a 10 count to pull you down into the meditative state. And don't speed it up.
Right.
Do it at a nice, slow rate, a very calming rate, calming voice. If you do pauses, make sure that the next word that you say after the pause is a very soft spoken one, because you're not trying to jar yourself through it.
No.
You want to go smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the same thing on the reverse where you're pulling yourself back up. And you shouldn't do more than maybe a 15-minute meditation. Yeah. I wouldn't do anything more than that if you're not used to meditating.
Right.
I mean, I do shamanic journeys, and that can be anywhere from a half an hour to an hour.
Yeah. But we've done hundreds of guided meditations.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm used to it. She's used to it. Mm-hmm. But if you're just beginning, what I would suggest is, like you said, go onto YouTube and use those guided meditations. Mm-hmm. And you can have more than one past life.
Oh, God, yeah.
And, I don't know how many Joan of Arcs are out there, but apparently she was jam-packed with souls.
Yeah.
So was Alexander the Great, King Tut, and several other people. Honestly, the majority of lives that you will have will not be spectacular historical beings. No. Honestly, you're more than likely going to be Joe Average. Because you're learning a lesson.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that you weren't Cleopatra.
Yeah, could have been.
Somebody had to be.
Yep.
Somebody had to be Cleopatra. She had a soul.
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't.
I don't think I was. I was alive in ancient Egypt, but I don't know who I was.
A scribe.
Or
that's all
what.
I was. I was a scribe.
Yeah, I don't know what I was. I just know that I've always been interested in ancient Egypt, even when I was a kid, and I knew things about it that I didn't read about or anything. Right. So, I mean, I could have been a slave. Who knows?
I was a scribe. I wrote on papyrus.
I just think it was cool that I was there.
That's what I did. I wrote on papyrus.
Yeah. Now, I got lucky with the painting that I found of the one past life that I had, because it was probably one of the more recent ones.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But and this person was not anybody famous. No, just yep. So
Coco was reborn. I think Coco was Wimpy from Popeye. I would gladly play you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Yeah. You know what I should do? I should get do a printout of the picture of Arthur and do the comparison, because when people see this picture, they're like, what? Because I don't look that much different, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Hello, yes, I love you too. Somebody is a happy dog. He's so excited. He wants pizza. Yeah. Don't you?
Well, we're getting up to half an hour.
Okay.
You want to do more reincarnation next week?
Let's think about it. I'm not sure what
I can print out that picture.
We can still show it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
because there's so much more too.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean,
we've go on for hours.
We've gone through different forms of regression and hypnosis and meditation to discover different lives.
Yeah.
That we've had, and they're not all going to come at once, because these will present themselves. Mm-hmm. when they're needed to be remembered. As that's how I believe it.
Yeah.
When there's a need for it.
Mm-hmm.
But you should never, ever, ever, ever dwell on them.
Right.
There was an example of the woman who her and her husband and kids bought this hotel, and part of it was burned, and she was so into this hotel, and it was actually wiping them out financially, and she was so obsessed with it that it was actually destroying the marriage and the kids, and she was just so obsessed with this hotel. And yes, she had lived in that hotel before, and she had owned it in a prior life, but it was time to move on.
Yeah.
And she was having a hard time giving it up. She really was.
Sounds like it.
Because she was so obsessed. She just wanted to relive that life. And you can't do that. Would you settle down? You'll get some pizza in a second. Okay?
He's looking at me like, listen to her. I don't believe her.
Yeah, you will. There's no need.
It's crazy. Okay, we should go so we can get pizza.
So he can get his pizza. That's right. His pizza bones. His little crusty pizza bones that Mommy makes sure there's no tomato sauce or cheese on or any kind of things like that, because she doesn't want little doggies to get a hold of like oregano and stuff like that. We don't want like garlic in your breast, bad enough.
Yeah.
But it's not good for puppies.
Yeah.
He's not good.
Okay.
Okay. So, well, we will see you next week.
Yep.
And you all have a good evening, and we'll talk about something. And I don't know what yet.
We'll figure it out.
We usually do.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Blade.
I'm Rhonda.
And we are Paranormal Pixies, and we will see you later.
See you next week. Bye. Bye.